Hello and welcome to the first episode of The Big Fight for the year 2017. Now, 2016 wasn't necessarily the best year that we've had. And by the way, if you'd asked us at the beginning of 2016 that all of these major dramatic developments that did take place, if anyone had asked you to predict them, you would have probably struggled. If I had told you on the 1st of January 2016 that Donald Trump would be elected the President of the United States, you would have laughed. If I told you that 500 rupee and 1000 rupee notes were going to be banned later in the year, you would have laughed. If I told you Britain was voting to exit the European Union, well, you may not have laughed, but you would have found it rather improbable. So, let's kick off this year by trying to look at our crystal balls ahead to 2017. I'm going to be asking all of our panelists, a whole lot of top experts in this area. I'm going to be asking the audience here and a number of people out there on the roads to look ahead at 2017 and try and pick what they think is going to be the biggest headline of 2017. The biggest headline, the most noteworthy headline, the events that are really going to change India and change the world. And later in the show, we're going to come to some of the fun bits. We're going to look at some really outlandish headlines in sports, in entertainment, in politics, and what have you. We'll have some fun a little later in the program as well. But let me start by welcoming all of our very special guests here. Chandan Mitra, it's great to have you with us from the BJP and Editor-in-Chief Managing Director of The Pioneer, of course. Pawan Khera, member of the Congress Party. Tariq Fateh, scholar, columnist, is here to join us on The Big Fight. Great to have you back with us here. Professor Ashish Nandi, one of our top sociologists. Aarti Jairat, senior journalist, who's perhaps the person who should be one with the first people we're going to be giving the task of selecting the headline for us. As indeed, we are going to be giving it to N. Ram, who's joining us from Chennai. Actually, before we start debating this, quick, off the cuff, biggest headline of 2017. Aarti.
UP election results. Make or break for Modi.
Okay, stick your neck out a bit further than that.
The BJP is going to lose.
BJP loses Uttar Pradesh.
Could lose Uttar Pradesh, and it is going
Your
to have a significant
is BJP
impact.
Loses Uttar Pradesh,
I'm
and
really,
that has a major
really
negative
asking
impact.
Me to stick my neck out,
I'm asking.
and I hope it doesn't happen like with some people during the Bihar elections.
Okay, fine. So she's sticking her neck out and saying that's going to be the biggest headline. Your biggest headline of 2017.
Declaring that every office must open with collective shouting of Bharat Mata Ki Jai.
Every morning when people go to office, they have to shout Bharat Mata Ki Jai. Now you are being facetious, of course. That's not the biggest headline. I mean, it will be an interesting headline.
It underlies some of the processes I'm talking about, or rather overlies some of the processes.
Okay, so more seriously, you're saying that the big process that you see in 2017 is the right wing is going to continue to get stronger. Is that what you're saying?
I don't think in terms of right and left, but I think ultranationalism is going to be the cover for further shrinkage of democratic rights.
Okay, further shrinkage of democratic rights because of the rise of ultranationalism. Okay, that's a theme, it's a headline.
Cover that shrinkage.
Okay, fine. Tariq Fateh.
Trump and Putin are going to come together in the same way as Roosevelt and Joseph Stalin during the Second World War, and this is going to be the real detente of our understanding, because these are the only two leaders for the first time who will recognize the threat of a war that we are in for the last 15, 16 years, but which nobody wants to talk about.
That's interesting. So Trump and Putin come together to take on ISIS. Fine.
End of honeymoon for Modi.
End of the honeymoon for Modi. By the way, will it be nearly 3.5 years? How long is this honeymoon going to be?
Lasted long, no doubt about that.
No doubt about
honeymoon, 3 years, not 3.5. Yeah, but 3 years.
Okay, so it's a really prolonged honeymoon, according to you.
Thanks to the media.
Now you're blaming the media for having a honeymoon with Modi. I wish the world would make up its mind. Half of the country says. Half the country says that the media is after Modi, and we are Modi bashers and Modi haters.
No, it's not half the country. It's half of the 31% people who voted for Modi, who are the trolls. Half of the 31%, maybe less than half, who blame the media for getting after Modi. But I guess the media has been pretty kind to Modi.
Pretty kind to Modi, and that's going to end, you're saying,
and that'll end.
Okay,
That's for the nuclear scientists to answer.
All right, 2017, the end of the honeymoon for Modi. Okay, now, and that, I mean, that's saying I'm not sure there's going to be linked to the UP election, but there we are.
Also UP election, yes. UP,
Okay,
Punjab
Chandan.
and other states.
I would say the other way around, actually. That beginning of a second honeymoon.
You can't.
So does that
can't
mean
So,
have-
no,
with the
does
same
that mean
wife?
the first one
With
is
the same
over?
wife?
Yeah,
No,
I
does
mean,
that
interesting
mean the
point,
first
same
one is
wife,
over?
because he's still the prime minister. So it's only a second honeymoon only begins if he wins the election again.
No, see, UP,
On a point of
Oh,
order.
the
UP
first one is over.
UP
So you need a second.
Modi will win and win big. And Notebandi will get a big thumbs up from the people. The Congress party will be decimated, whatever is left of it. And therefore, Modi begins a kind of second honeymoon with a full-fledged majority and public support. That's the biggest event of 2017.
All right, Enram, your vote for the biggest headlines of 2017.
Demonetization recognized as a massive blunder lands India in an enormous mess. That could be the headline, but I do have something for Tamil Nadu, if you like.
Yes?
Yeah, AIADMK in total disarray. Shashikala under siege is no Jayalalitha.
All right, so somewhat specific about the politics of Tamil Nadu. Okay, some
relations,
interesting themes out there. All right, let me now quickly turn to the audience and seeing if anybody has any other contenders for headline of 2017.
Pakistan split into 4.
Pakistan split into 4.
Yes, sir. With the
Okay.
liberation of Balochistan and other states.
Okay, is that wishful thinking or a likely headline? All right, fine. If that does happen, it'll be a big headline, no doubt. Okay, your headline,
The
2017.
making of wall by Donald Trump for Mexican money.
Making of a wall with Mexican money.
Yeah,
Have you thought about what Mexico is going to say about that? I thought they weren't terribly keen. All right.
Who will get the contract? The Trump,
Yeah, it will be the Trump
Trump's
Foundation.
company or
All right.
It
yeah.
will be an Indian company, don't worry.
But hang on. Yeah.
Government policy of banning
Government?
policy of bans, beef ban. Then we have policy regarding pornography ban, and then commercial surrogacy being also banned.
So
like,
what are you expecting to see banned in 2017 now?
Yeah, I mean, like they may even enter my private room and take away my keys.
That's going to be
Banning
a
of
headline.
private keys. Okay, an extension of bans. Fine.
India joins
In that case,
CPEC.
shows like this will certainly be banned before that happens.
India joins CPEC with Pakistan and China. Might be overall good for this southeastern region.
That would be really dramatic also if that happened. I would again find that hard to believe. Let me get another headline here.
Everybody is seeing advantages of demonetization, and everybody will be chanting Har Har Modi, Ghar Ghar Modi.
Okay. Are you doing that yet? It's been 50 days now, more than 50 days, 70 days nearly.
Yes, ma'am. I will see. It's let's overlook the temporary disadvantages and see a bigger picture.
Okay, we've got some general themes there. I'm going to return to this and we'll try and take a look at some global headlines also. But two of the big themes that emerged as likely to happen in 2017, and actually maybe it's not surprising, to some extent linked to what happened in 2016 as well. I heard demonetization coming up and what's going to happen as an outcome of that. What is going to happen to the Modi aura and where will the UP election play out on that? I saw that happening internationally. Trump and Putin and what's going to happen with Donald Trump, I guess, is something a lot of people are curious about. So let's just go into all of these in no particular order. Let's start with UP election just for a change, because we've been talking about demonetization so much. Why do you think it's going to go wrong for the BJP?
Well, you know, elections in India are really hard to predict. So, I mean, you really made me stick my neck out by asking me to predict. And so now I'm going to play it a little safe. I think that, you know, what has happened with the UP polls is that it should have been just a state assembly election. But the way Modi has gone about it, he has personalized it so much that he's made himself the issue for UP. He has, you know, sort of made his entire plank, the narrative is the anti-corruption war that he has launched as the only honest man in India, the crusader for, you know, against black money. And that's what he is positing to the people. So the election is all about Modi. Do you want Modi and what he stands for, this honest crusader, anti-corruption, anti-black money? Or are you going to vote for one of the other parties which he's already, called
And this is a
corrupt?
formula, by the way, Aarti, that Modi has perfected. 2014 was
That's
the
right.
same.
Absolutely.
All of these elections end up being a referendum on Modi.
On Modi. But
Is UP, by the way, going to be a referendum on note ban as well?
Well, naturally, because that's his theme. Every election rally, every Parivartan rally that he's been addressing, he's only been talking about demonetization, what it means, how he's working 24/7 to, eradicate black money, to put the corrupt behind bars, to make life better for India, for Indians, and for the poor. That's all he's talking about. So in a sense, it is a referendum on demonetization. And that is a narrative that's emerging. So if he pulls off the elections, then it's a huge victory for Modi. Huge. He will be unstoppable.
The stakes are really high.
But if he loses, then you'll see a completely different dynamic emerging in Indian politics.
Okay, I'm going to come to the two of you to debate that, but Professor Nandi, do you agree broadly with what she said?
Not really. Frankly speaking, I expect a split assembly in UP. It will depend on what kind of coalition you build. Also, even in the elections, it will depend at ground level adjustment amongst the parties. What is important in this context, I will point that out. There is a lesson to be learned here, namely that the third year has been crucial and dangerous for all Indian prime ministers since the 1970s, beginning of 1970s. If Mrs. Gandhi, after trouncing the syndicate and getting a huge majority, after winning the Bangladesh war, and after exploding a nuclear device, could face problems in the third year, you can imagine the fate of other prime ministers. The only prime minister who avoided it was Narasimha Rao, because he kept a very low profile. People didn't even know that the contours of Indian economy has changed dramatically.
Do you have a take on whether this is going to be a critical year for Narendra Modi?
I agree mostly with the professor that we cannot predict it, and it all depends on how, very unfortunately, the vote banks play out. I find it very disappointing when I hear the Yadav vote and the Muslim vote. It's almost primitive to my ears that in this day and age, after 70 years of democracy, people are not voting on programs, but they're voting on identities. And perhaps it's a step backward, but it will correct in a way.
Identity politics to some extent has always been there. In fact, I think Aarti is saying that these elections, and actually for the first time, perhaps they're more referendum type elections as opposed to based on, where will the Yadavs vote and where will the Muslims vote and where will this happen, because you have a leader who's almost making it a referendum about himself, and this time on the notepad.
But that would be acceptable if there were two parties in the running. We have 3-4 different forces in the election, and as the professor pointed out, there will be a split. There won't be an absolute majority, and there will be some coalition building.
Okay, so now let me come back to the two of you. Honeymoon or no honeymoon? She says UP is going to decide that. Whether it's a honeymoon or a rather bad tiff and I'm not sure you can have an early divorce 3 years into a marriage, but
Divorce is a state of mind.
Okay. The country will divorce him. That's what he's saying. Or maybe the party will divorce him.
Well, Vikram, a large section of the English-speaking media or English-language media has wished Modi permanent defeat.
Can you both make up your mind? He says the English media is sitting here and propagating Modi.
And that's his point.
You're saying the English media is here to destroy Modi. Can we first settle this issue? What does media do? How can the media be doing both by process of, it's a logical fallacy here.
2002. And you are
2002 was 15 years ago.
To it.
2002 was 15 years back.
Present day. It's a continuous narrative. And Modi cannot win.
Chandan, can I just say this? Let's just settle this once and for all. 2002 was 15 years ago.
No,
you and others in the BJP keep saying, the media keeps harping about 2002. The media, by the way, has not spoken about 2002 since Prime Minister Modi became the Prime Minister. You keep talking about 2002.
No, I'm saying
Who's
since
harping
2002.
on it? We are or you are?
I am not talking about 2002. I am talking about since 2002. All these years. The 14 years have gone by. Media, that section of the media has not given up its pathological hatred of Modi.
He says that there's a pathological love for Modi, which is it.
I wouldn't say pathological love. I see a fear. I see a fear amongst the media, and I'm sorry, I must say this very honestly. I talk to a lot of friends in the media, they're scared. They are scared like never before.
Of what?
Ask him. Why, don't ask me. You would know better.
So there's a pathological hatred of
the
Modi, which is
fear
now
of the
becoming a
state.
pathological fear of Modi.
This is a propaganda.
And somewhere there's love in the middle also, no?
Propaganda. that's
So
being
what's
done.
going to be
the
the
sound of
headline?
Bollywood
Pathological fear overtakes.
Let's continue with the.
Okay,
No,
actually,
I want to
Aarti, you want to come up with a media headline
why
in
do
this?
they keep shooting the messenger? I don't understand. Both of them are shooting the
We are
messenger.
not shooting.
So
I,
I'm
We're
trying
not
to-
I
talking-
sympathize
Yeah,
with the
you
messenger.
know, what
I
is the media
sympathize
got
with
to
the
do with
messenger
this?
who is
We
afraid.
are saying,
Nobody is shooting the
that
messenger.
Modi
At
is
least not me.
reaching out above the heads of the media, the propaganda for him, against him, above the heads of his party, directly to the people. He's reaching out and asking for a vote for
Yeah,
himself.
look, I
That's
want
what we're saying. Now,
So
if he succeeds...
actually, the media is an interesting headline which we should add to the mix, right?
Thank you. Thank you.
Media falls in love with Modi, media fears Modi, Modi cracks down on the media, hatred turns to love turns to hate, and whatever it is. Let's try and figure
But
this one
that's
out.
a lack of understanding. That's a very convenient way to lambast the
I
media.
would-
There'll be right-wing media, there's left-wing media,
There's
everywhere.
also a fair
Actually,
media.
India,
I'm sorry.
by and large,
Yeah,
the
but
media
there
is
is
known
fair-
as
No,
not to
You
take
can't
lines.
just say that right-wing media. I wouldn't say Indian media is so clearly divided between right and
It's
left.
not like
I would
it's
say
not
they are
like the
fair.
US.
No,
I'm
but
sorry.
it is divided by class and language. And you can see the difference.
Point. You see, only
There's class
two-
and language. I'm not saying...
Let us not
I think
forget
the
that
media
only
headline-
2.5%
Yes.
of Indians read English.
Yes. So
So what is the impact of
But the
English
remaining
media?
amount, see,
What is
I'm-
this
I'm
noise
just-
about?
I'm just pointing to a dichotomy, and it's an interesting dichotomy because there were some headlines
But
about
let's
the
get
media
beyond
in 2016.
discussing the media.
In 2016, there was a lot of headlines about the media. Let's not forget that. May well happen in 2017, which is why I'm throwing it back into the mix.
Vikram, there is
But let's come
something-
back to it
there's
after we
something
finish.
called-
I
There's
would like
something
to-
called the new media. When I say media, I also mean the new media, which is your mobile, which is your internet, which is your WhatsApp,
Social
which is
media.
your Twitter,
But
Facebook,
that's in our
social
hands.
media.
That's in our
Fair
hands.
enough, but then there are major influencers of social media, which
And
we're talking
sometimes, and now it turns out that there are at least some reports that
about.
there's
Organized
been,
trolling.
it's happening with organized
Institutionalized
trolling.
No, that's a
Which, by the way, you've been
separate
accused
matter
of.
It is a very
altogether.
critical
For your
matter,
party.
Dr. Mitra.
I don't think that the new media is really subject of discussion here.
Why not?
It could be a
Why
headline.
not?
It is
Why not?
It is
Sorry,
not-
but that also
it is
decides.
not a-
That
not a
also
game
helps
headline.
decide
My
in
question
a
is-
headline.
It does not set opinion trends.
Mainstream media
Opinion-
often follows the new media
No,
these
no
days.
way.
Often, more often
There's
than
no,
not.
No way.
It looks like
But
the media is
it's
going to
actually-
be the headline
I guess
in
media is
2017.
I'm telling you,
Vikram,
that's going to
here's
happen.
the-
Don't be surprised.
You know what surprises me is that everyone is an expert in journalism. And if they were pretending to be experts in medicine...
as
the
everyone is an
Just a
expert
second.
on liberalism.
No. It's a profession. Liberalism is not a profession.
For some
If-
it is.
1 second, sir.
Yeah.
Let me say. If the doctors were told, I can teach you, doctor, well, many Indians do. You tell them I'm sick, they'll tell you what medicine to take.
Yes.
But no engineer,
Always there.
no doctor, no architect is willing to say that everyone's an expert in my field except me.
By the way-
but in journalism they do.
I'm so glad you pointed that out because that's absolutely correct. And by the way, every time like last time I had you on the big fight, we had many of the right-wing people who tend to support you coming like a pack of, well,
Yeah, but they were wrong.
and saying that, why is this and everyone's biased and actually you did shut them down. You did.
Yeah,
you did-
they are wrong. So the point is not whether the left is right or wrong. In delivering the message, their mistakes will be made because we're all human beings. We are not.
Vikram, I have not concluded my
Yeah,
point.
let's complete,
Vikram,
sir.
Yeah.
let me conclude the point. Point I was trying to make is that for a long time, a section of the media has wished Modi, condemnation, they've condemned him to purgatory, and they believe that Modi can never win even a municipal election. But he has gone on from strength to strength. And therefore, all those who are saying that this will be Modi's nemesis, I only want to tell them, look at your own record from 2002 to the present day,
That's a
and
bit-
you will agree with me that Modi is headed for a huge triumph in UP.
Now let me press the pause button. What you've just said, you were on a roll until a certain point. Now, 3 years into the Modi government, and by the end of 2017, we'll be nearing the end of the Modi government's term, with just 1.5 years to go, and it's almost going to be time for the next general elections. It's about time that you cannot have BJP spokespersons who are going to constantly say, well, look what the Congress did when it was in power. I mean, yes, the Congress made a hash of what it was doing when it was in power, which is why they lost the election in 2014. Now it should be pretty much about the track record of the Modi government when in power. So it's no longer a defense to say, look what they did when they were
No, I
ruling.
have not even mentioned Congress.
You
don't
just said,
merit
look what they did.
mentioning.
You
Maybe
said
you were
it.
talking about Dr.
Look what they
Patel
did from
then. I don't
2004. Anyway,
No, I didn't say that. I said one section of the media. I didn't say Congress. Did I?
No, you pointed towards this direction, so I don't know which one of them.
No, no, no. I'll take it. But can I add something to Mr. Modi? What's
Yes.
my prediction of a headline is a Yalta conference in which Mr. Modi, Mr. Putin, and Mr. Trump will be there. It will be Crimea because Crimea is going to disappear as a conflict because it was always part of Russia. And the trick of Obama was to move the troops to Latvia and Estonia so as they're not fighting ISIS. But this coming together is the first time that these three leaders, to a lesser degree Mr. Modi, but the other two know of the real threat that faces the Caucasus, the Middle East, North Africa.
No, no. So you're saying a Yalta conference between Modi, Putin, and Trump
Yes.
to do
It
what?
might
Divide
not
up the
be.
world like they did in Yalta.
Well, they didn't tie up the
fight
world.
ISIS.
They determined the fight against fascism. And we are facing a fight against fascism in which we are very reluctant to even utter the word Islamofascism.
Okay, we'll come to your fascism point in a sec, but Enram is back with us. Let's just get the Modi point out of the way and Notepan out of the way, and then we'll come to all the other possible exciting headlines. Whether this is going to be a turning point for Modi, and you seem to be saying, Ram, that the note ban and everything that happened as a result of the note ban is, in a sense, going to be the turning point. Why were you saying that?
Yeah, I recognize that public opinion is divided on this. There's no doubt about it. There are those who support it because they believe it's a blow to black money. But at net, I think on the ground it will be shown that it was an enormous blunder, as numerous opinions published, editorial opinions in The Economist, Steve Forbes, various people have said, apart from our experts in India, Manmohan Singh, and so on. So I think it will be shown to be a monumental blunder, notwithstanding some effects against black money and so on here or there. But overall, the hardship that ordinary people have faced, I think that's going to be a very costly economically and politically for the BJP government and for the image of the Prime Minister. That's my sense.